Welcome to 21st Sports Recap and Reaction for Game 1 of the ALDS between the Houston Astros and the Kansas City Royals, played October 8th, 2015. We're going to go over every at-bat, we're going to go over the stats, and we're going to give our breakdown and analysis. So starting off this game, Yordano Ventura was the starter for Kansas City, and Collin McHugh was the starter for Houston. So the Astros would be up first in the top of the first, Ventura on the mound for the Royals, and Jose Altuve led off the game with a single. Springer then drew a walk, and then Correa singled, and so now the bases were juiced with no outs to begin this game. Colby Rasmus then grounded out, but Altuve scored. Springer went to third and Correa to second. So it was 1-0 Houston over Kansas City. Evan Gattis then grounded out to short, and Springer scored, and it was now 2-0. Then Valbuena struck out. So 2-0 after the first half inning of this game. And in the bottom of the first, McHugh got Escobar to ground out. Zobrist got a single. He then stole second. Kane grounded out, and Hosmer lined out. So that would do it after one. So now headed to the top of the second. Carter flew out. Castro struck out. And then Marisnick hit a double. And then Jose Altuve got a single and the RBI as he drove in Marisnick. And Altuve ended up on second base as he advanced on the throw to home. So now Springer would ground out, and the top of the second would come to a close, but not after the Astros added another run, as it was now 3-0 Houston over Kansas City. And then to lead off the bottom of the second, Kendrick Morales took McHugh deep as he put the first run on the scoreboard for the Royals as they cut the Astros lead to 2, with the score now Houston 3, Kansas City 1. Moustakas then grounded out, and Salvador Perez grounded out, but then it started raining so heavily. It was already raining pretty hard, and it just kept coming down, and so they would have a rain delay for about 48 minutes, almost an hour, and McHugh would come back out, and he would retire Gordon, who grounded out, and that would bring the bottom of the second to a close. And so now to start off the top of the third, after that long, rain delay of almost an hour, the Astros up at bat would be facing Chris Young as he came in to relieve Ventura. And when asked later on, the Royals skipper said that they had already wanted to start Ventura for Game 4, and with this rain delay, that gave them the opportunity to take him out, knowing that they could start him in Game 4. And although it would be off short rest, he only had pitched 2 innings in this game. So Chris Young came in relief, although out of the rain delay, he was able to warm up as if he was starting the game, which Chris Young had been a starter for most of his career, as this was the first year where he exclusively worked out of the bullpen, or most of his bullpen appearances happened in 2015. But he would strike out Carrera, the first batter he faced. He walked Rasmus, then he struck out Gattis. Rasmus then stole second, and then Young retired Valbuena as he struck him out swinging. So he ended up getting 3 strikeouts in the top of the third. Then in the bottom of the third, McHugh still on the mound for Houston. He would retire the side in order as he struck out Rios, and then got Escobar and Zobrist both to ground out. So that would take us to the top of the fourth. Young still on the mound for Kansas City, and he would strike out the side as he struck out Carter, Castro, and Marisnick, as he actually struck out 5 of the first. He actually had 6 strikeouts at this point, as he struck out 6 of the first 7 batters that he saw. He did walk Rasmus, but he struck out 3 batters in the top of the third, 3 batters in the top of the fourth. So we're headed to the bottom of the fourth. And so now Kane would line out, and then Hosmer flew out, and then Kendrick Morales hit his second solo shot of the game, and that made it a 1-run game with the score Houston 3, Kansas City 2. Moustakas then flew out, and that would do it for the 4th inning. So it's 3-2 heading to the top of the 5th. Chris Young still on the mound for Kansas City. He let up a single to Altuve. Altuve was then caught stealing, and then George the Animal Springer hit a home run. It would have been a 2-run shot, but instead it was a solo shot. It wouldn't ultimately matter, but if Altuve hadn't been caught stealing, it would have been 2 runs instead of just 1, as it was now a 2-run lead at 4-2 for Houston over Kansas City after that solo shot by Springer. Of course, Altuve is one of the best speedsters in the game. He's one of the better thieves when it comes to stealing second base. And so Correa would ground out and Rasmus would strike out, and the top of the 5th would come to a close, but not after the Astros had added another run to their lead. So then in the bottom of the 5th, McHugh still on the mound for Houston. He would get Perez to fly out. Alex Gordon hit a single, and then Rios walked, so it was 1 out, 2 on. Escobar then lined out, and then Zobrist grounded out. So that would do it for the 5th. So now on to the top of the 6th. Young still on the mound for Kansas City. He got Gaddis to line out. He walked Valbuena, and then Carter hit a single. So he had 2 on, 1 out for Castro, but Castro hit into a double play, and that would bring the top of the 6th to a close. So now on the bottom of the 6th, McHugh, still on the mound for Houston, would retire the side in order as he got Kane to fly out, Hosmer to ground out, and then Morales lined out. Of course, Morales at that point had already hit 2 solo shots, but after he lined out, that would do it for the 6th. So we went on to the top of the 7th. Kelvin Herrera would come in to relieve Young, and Marisnick, the first batter he faced, hit a single to right, but then Altuve grounded out. Marisnick advanced to second, but then Springer struck out, and then Correa struck out. So he retired the next 3 batters after letting up a single, striking out the final 2 batters of the top of the 7th. We were moving on to the bottom of the 7th. Tony Sipp would come in to relieve McHugh. Moustakas would ground out, so would Perez and Gordon, as Sipp retired the side in order. So now we're headed to the top of the 8th. Ryan Madson in to pitch for Herrera, and he let up a home run to Colby Rasmus, the first batter he would face, a 439-foot moonshot, and it was now a 3-run lead for Houston with the score 5-2 Astros over the Royals. Evan Gaddis then hit a single. Gomez would come in to pinch run for Gaddis, but then the next 3 batters would strike out as Madsen struck out Valbuena, Carter, and Castro after letting up a home run and a single. So the Astros would add 1 more run to their lead as they now led by 3 with the score 5-2 heading to the bottom of the 8th. And so Will Harris would come in to relieve Sipp for Houston. Gonzalez would come in to play first base. And now Rios at the plate, he grounded out. Escobar struck out. Zobrist got a single. Then Kane got a single. So he had 2 on, 2 out. And now Perez would come in to relieve Harris. And Hosmer would be at the plate, 2 on, 2 out. And he fouled out to third. And so the bottom of the 8th came to a close. So now we go to the top of the 9th. And Luke Hochevar was in to pitch for Kansas City, relieving Madsen. And he got Marisnick to ground out. Altuve grounded out. Springer then hit a single, but Correa would ground out, and we would head to the bottom of the 9th as the Royals were down to their last 3 outs, and Gregerson was on the mound looking for his second save in just 2 days. And Gregerson in relief of Perez. The first batter he would see would be Kendrick Morales, who had already hit 2 solo shots in the game as he was responsible for both of Kansas City's runs, but Gregerson would strike him out swinging to lead off the inning and get the first out of the inning. Gregerson then hit Moustakas, and so Moustakas was awarded first base as the pitch hit him in the foot, and then Perez came to the plate, and Gregerson struck out Salvador Perez, and that would bring up Gordon with 2 outs and 1 on, and Alex Gordon would fly out to left in foul territory, and Gregerson picks up the save. The Astros pick up the win 5-2, and they take the lead in the ALDS 1-0 in this 5-game series. So quite a crazy game, especially with that long rain delay. And on Houston's side, they decided to stick with their pitcher, McHugh, and Kansas City decided to take out Ventura and go to Young. Young actually was doing a good job. Ventura had let up 3 runs in just those first 2 innings. Young came in. He struck out 6 of the first 7 batters he saw. He had 7 strikeouts in 4 innings, only letting up 1 earned run and 3 hits, walking 2 batters. Of course, he let up that solo shot to Springer. But in this game, McHugh gets the win. 6 innings pitched, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, 2 earned runs, just 4 hits. Of course, both those earned runs were home runs to Kendrick Morales, those 2 solo shots by Morales, who's really the only player on Kansas City that got anything going offensively. Sip pitched 1 inning, no hits, and no earned runs. Harris pitched 2/3 of an inning, struck out 1 batter. He did allow 2 hits, but no earned runs. Perez pitched 1/3 of an inning, no hits, no runs. And Gregerson gets the save, pitching the 9th inning, the only inning, the 1 inning he pitched, and he had 2 strikeouts in that inning out of the 4 batters that he faced. He did not allow any hits or any runs. As I said, Ventura, just 2 innings pitched. He allowed 3 earned runs, 4 hits. He had 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. Young, in relief, Chris Young, 4 innings coming in after that rain delay. As I said, he had 7 strikeouts. He allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits and 2 walks. Herrera, 1 inning pitched, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit, no earned runs. Madsen pitched an inning. He allowed 1 earned run. That was that home run. Actually, that was the home run to Springer. I said it was Young earlier, but it was actually, that was Springer. Actually, no, Rasmus hit the home run off Madsen. Springer hit the home run off of Young. That was correct. So I correct my correction. But Madsen had 3 strikeouts in that inning. He allowed 1 earned run, that home run, and 2 hits. He let up the home run, and then he let up that single to Gaddis. But then he struck out the next 3. And then Hochevar, the 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, no runs in his 1 inning that he pitched. Let me look at the offense. Altuve was where that offense all began. He had 3 hits, 3 for 5, 1 RBI, 1 run. Springer, 2 for 4, 1 RBI, 2 runs. He walked once, struck out once. Correa, 1 for 5. Rasmus, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Gaddis, 1 for 4, 1 RBI. He also struck out once. Chris Carter, 1 for 4. He struck out twice. And Marisnik, 2 for 4 with 1 run scored. And for Kansas City, Ben Zobrist, 2 for 4. Kane was 1 for 4. Kendrick Morales, 2 for 4. Those 2 solo shots, 2 RBIs, 2 runs, 2 home runs. And Gordon, 1 for 4. As they only managed to get 6 hits. Houston had 11 hits in the game. And the thing was, they got on Ventura early, as they, scored those 3 runs before the rain delay, as they were up 3-0. Morales hit that home run, made it 3-1. And he hit the other one. He made it a 1-run game, 3-2. But then Springer and Rasmus getting those solo shots in the 5th and 6th innings, and Houston gets a really good performance from their pitching staff. Not quite the performance of Keuchel in the wild card game, but still a good performance nonetheless by McHugh, especially with that huge delay in the middle of his pitching performance. And then the bullpen comes up clutch again, just as they did in that wild card game. Is they looked really good in this one. They did not allow any earned runs from that Houston bullpen. Gregerson gets another save. And the Houston Astros, they're looking like a team of destiny right now. They've got momentum on their side, and that's the thing in the playoffs, especially in baseball. If you can get hot and you just ride that momentum, you can ride it all the way to the big game. You know what I'm talking about? So it'll be interesting to see if Houston can keep this going. Kansas City, of course, they're looking to get back there, as they were in the World Series last year. They want to get back, but down 1-0, they're going to have to win Game 2 if they want any shot, because they cannot afford to go down 0-2 and go back to Houston. As it is right now, the Astros have taken home field advantage and secured it in their favor, as the Royals will have to win a game in Houston if they want to get back to Kansas City in this series. Of course, I mean, they could potentially just win the next 3. That's possible. Anything's possible. But Houston's looking real hot right now. I'd say red hot, but they're orange hot. Is the orange crush of baseball is moving on. And they were playing some small ball, actually, even though they had those home runs. But early on, they were playing small ball, especially in that first inning. And then they get the solo shots later on in the 5th and 6th. And Kansas City just could not get anything going. The only guy who really had anything going was Kendrick Morales. He was the only one who had anything more than a single. And if you take away his 2 shots, then it's just 4 hits, as he had, 2 of the 6 hits. And there was just 4 singles was all that the rest of the Royals were able to muster. And like I said, Houston looking very solid, playing as a complete team, getting everything going. They had a lot of strikeouts, though. Valbuena and Castro each struck out 3 times, and Correa and Carter both struck out twice. Altuve was the only starter who did not strike out for the Astros. So everybody else in the lineup did strike out, but they're aggressive. Of course, they're getting after it, and even Rasmus, he had a first pitch home run there. So actually, it was the 8th. I said it was the 6th, but I don't know why I said that. It was the 8th. So it's the 5th and the 8th. I stand corrected. I corrected myself. But let me know what you think about this game in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you had a good day and had a great week, and have a great weekend, and enjoy all the sports.